Hey guys, welcome. Thanks for joining me. So today we're gonna head out to Spa again for another preseason race. We had one there last week that was part of the official preseason championship. So that championship is over, and as a result of the feedback that was given, they made some changes to the car and they decided to have another race over at Spa, same track, to have a good comparison of the changes, whether they're better and the car is closer to being released for the actual season. So basically they kept most of the car the same, but they did make changes to the tires. Basically they increased the tire wear, made it more sensitive to temperatures, so you have to be a bit more mindful about how hard you push the tires. I had very little time to prepare, once again, worse than last time. So I basically confirmed that our old setup was still working. I tried some changes, only made things worse, and in the end I wasted too much time on that. Decided just to stick with my setup from last race because it worked. And with the changes in the tires, it was at least a safe option. So with very little time to prepare, I decided just to run a safe setup. The lack of time meant that I also didn't really do any stints. I did one stint on the softs to check if they could do 11 laps on a full tank of fuel, and I crashed on lap 10 because the tires were just gone. So, and that was 30 minutes before the qualifying session started basically. So I did one run of, in the end 10 laps on the softs, and that was all the preparation time I had. And then I had to go into qualifying. So I actually didn't have time to prepare any qualifying laps. My first qualifying practice was in qualifying itself. So I basically did 3 runs on low fuel, pushing hard. So not ideal as we head on to my actual qualifying lap. And this is my 3rd attempt, because as you can imagine, every attempt I learn a little bit more about the car, and trust me, it's an entirely different beast when you're in qualifying mode. So for the preseason race I didn't do any qualifying because I had to start from the back of the grid. So I didn't do any qualifying laps on the previous version of this car, and then on this version of the car this was my 3rd attempt. And I figured out I could actually take some curb there and some here. Now you're gonna see plenty of mistakes on this lap because, like I said, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare. I'm gonna miss apexes or cut the corner too tight because in qualifying this car has so much grip and it turns in so well until it doesn't. And you can apply the throttle really early until you can't, and then you have big moments, lose a lot of time. So it was all about finding that balance. How hard can I push it and still be safe? And every qualifying attempt I did, I started to improve further and further. But I did see that I was somewhere at the top on my earlier attempts, so I decided to go for it. I knew there was time left here and there. As we head into the bus stop chicane, probably took it a bit too tight on entry, bit of oversteer on the exit, lose a bit of time again. But in the end it was good enough for P3, as you can see here, so I'm quite happy about that, especially considering the very little practice I had in qualifying trim. So P2 was definitely possible. P1, I don't know, I would have needed a bit more practice to get that done, but it's Sux and Van Fuca's top 2, then it's me, Valeriano behind, then Callas, and Brandholm finishing up the top 6. So I decided to just go safe after the little practice I did, start on the mediums. The guys behind me thought the same, but interestingly the top 2, Sux and Van Fuca's, they both start on the softs. So they will be fast early on, but they will start dropping back at a later stage, probably. But then again, I haven't done a lot of laps on the mediums, not more than 4 in a row I believe, so let's see how it plays out. As we wait for everyone to line up, lights come on, Alright, let's see where we end up. Lights on. Lights out, alright. And we get off a bit slowly. Really down low in the revs. And then Colors takes a look. I turn in and there's a bit of contact there, but we all make it through cleanly. And now Brandholm, he's had a really good start. And he's in P4 right behind me. And he will have to slipstream down the Camel Straight. But I want to keep this P3 because the top 2 will move away because of their soft, so I want to lose as little time as possible because that could be important later on in the race. So I need to defend, I use overtake mix. Brandholm tries the outside and now has the inside, so I just keep the throttle pinned. I give him the space, then he gives me the space. Oh good, and then... Alright, I've got the correct line, so I should be able to defend here. Yep, that's it, okay. I've kept P3. So now I need to make sure I get ahead a bit of Brandholm and not lose too much time to the top 2. As we now look at Sander Colles at the start, and we're gonna look at the contact that there was. So he's starting right behind me, getting a bit of slipstream, looking on the inside. Ooh, yep, some contact was made. We all made it through cleanly, but yeah, should I have left him a bit more space? Was he too aggressive? Let me know in the comments. I'd like to know what you guys think. But in any case, we all made it through cleanly and we can continue on with our race. As we now move on to lap 3, and this is where we first get DRS. Now the top 2 are too far in front of me, so I won't get DRS from them. But Brandholm behind, that's the important one. If he gets DRS, he can close in and start harassing me. If he doesn't, then I can start pulling away a little bit. So this is it. And he doesn't get DRS. Look, we're on board with him now. DRS flap is closed, so that's good for me. I'm further away than 1 second, so I can now start pulling out the gap a little bit. I don't know, I have no idea how hard I can push, but because I didn't do a lot of laps on the mediums. As we now head on to lap 4. And we look at Brandholm, and right behind him the red car, that's Sander Colles. And I was worried about him, because I could see I could move away from Brandholm, but Colles is a World Championship driver, so he's gotta be fast, right? And lap 4 he gets past Brandholm, and now can directly start chasing me. So, yeah, let's try and stay in front. But I don't know how possible that will be, and how much can I push the tires, how much do I need to save, I don't know. So we now head on to lap 8, excuse me. And yeah, this is the top 2, Van Vukas and Zooks. And you can see me in the background, so they've definitely pulled a gap. As we now look at me, and you see Colles, he is closing in. Not by a lot, you know, it's 1/10, maybe 2 tenths per lap. So not by a whole lot, but he is closing in on me. And I don't like that. I'm currently on the podium and I want to finish somewhere on the podium, right? So, Colles, just slow down a bit, please. I want this podium. As we move on to lap 10, we can clearly see that Colles didn't listen and he keeps closing in. Actually, he's starting to get dangerously close to DRS distance, less than 1 second, which means that defending against him will be tricky. The good news, however, look ahead. The top 2, Zooks in front of me, Van Vukas in front of him. I'm closing in on them, which means, yeah, by lap 10, as I found out in testing, by 10 laps the softs are gone. And the mediums are still holding out okay-ish. So I'm closing in. I'm gaining back the time that they managed to extend early on in this stint. So that's good news. As we head into the bus stop chicane, and yeah, that makes sense. Both of them are pitting, changing onto a fresh set of tires so they can get up to speed again. And look behind, that's Sander Colles, and that's looking really close. As we, riding towards Eau Rouge and then the Camel Straight. But I fear it's, that's way too close. He's gonna get DRS and, well, I'm trying to think ahead now. We've only done 25% of the race, And I can try and defend, fight hard, but that's going to cost both of us time. I'm going to use up overtake mode, and I might need it later on, so I just let him have the position. In fact, I'm thinking, if he's faster, then maybe he can drag me along. Gain me maybe a 10th extra per lap. And who knows what that might be worth at the end of the race. As we now head on to the end of that lap, lap 11. And Carlos stays out. And I decide to enter the pits. So I wasn't really sure what strategy to do. But I thought, let's just copy and paste my previous strategy. Medium, soft, soft, soft. And let's see if the soft can do 11 laps once the fuel load has gone down a bit. In practice they could only do 10 laps. And we saw the same with Sux and Van Fucas. But I thought, well, there's less fuel now, car is lighter, I could maybe save a little bit. Let's try the softs. It's a bit of an experiment, but let's see. And as I exit the pits, you can see Valeriano, who is now behind me. You may remember him from the previous race, and if you didn't watch that race, go watch it. But in any case, yeah, we've got Valeriano, who's gotten behind me, got DRS, and yeah, I don't like this. So he has pitted one lap before. I can see he's on the mediums, which is the slower tire. I'm on the softs, and I was basically hoping to now use these fresh tires and gain an advantage on Carlos, who still has to pit, and also to stay as close as possible to Sux and Van Fucas. But Valeriano's gotten in front of me, and he will be in front of me for the rest of this lap, and that's gonna cost me time, which is not ideal, but not much I can do. So we move on to the next lap, lap 13. And yeah, I need to get Valeriano out of the way. I can't afford to lose another lap. So I get DRS, as you see. Bit of overtake, because again I need to get this move done. And he defends, so I go around the outside. Fine, we'll do that. And oh, there's contact. Oh, I have to cut the chicane here, and that wasn't great, but alright, let's look at a replay. So he defends, and I go around the outside, and I'm pretty much past. And then he's just there. Yeah, not much I can do. Let's look at it from a different angle. So this is on board with Valeriano. He goes defensive. I'm past. Yeah, you can see him turn in, so he tries to make the corner, but he just understeers. He's just carrying too much speed, and maybe using the overtake mix himself, and not really expecting to have that little grip. I don't know. It wasn't ideal, but yeah, we all make it through. We survive, and yeah, look at that. Carlos is now closed in. We lost quite a bit of time doing that, which, yeah, like I said, it's not ideal. I wanted to use these fresh tires, use the undercut to get away from Carlos, and looks like that's not going to happen. As we skip ahead a little bit onto lap 14, and yeah, Carlos is now right behind Valeriano. DRS, maybe a bit of overtake, and not sure what I'm doing here, who I'm trying to defend against, but yeah, Carlos makes it through a bit more cleanly than I did. And yeah, again, he's directly behind me now on the same tires as I am, the softs, but they're one lap fresher, and with the drop-off we've been seeing, that's expensive. As we now get to an interesting phase, lap 15, and we see Sux, Van Fucas get past Williams, and then it's me and Carlos who are right behind Brandholm. So Williams and Brandholm hadn't pit yet, and they do now. As we continue on, and we're now back into P3 because everyone has made their pit stop. Yeah, look at how close Carlos is. So yeah, I don't know, I go for defensive line, but there's not much I can do. So again, my plan is not to fight too hard with Carlos, because then the top two will run away, and we might be in a battle for the lead here. I don't know, at least for a podium. And if we start fighting, then it will be top 3 at most. And we see Williams and Brandholm being on a different strategy, and they might come into play at the end. So we have to think of the long game here, not fight too hard. And yeah, with the top two pitting a lap before me, again they've gained quite a bit of an undercut, so we need to close this gap, and Colors was a bit faster than me at this point, so my game plan was just to let him do the work, and I just have to stick to within 1 second. As we see the top two here, Van Vooken still in first, Suk's behind him, and then we can see my plan. So Colors is pushing hard, closing in on top two, and I stick to within 1 second, so I get DRS, and I'm able to close right in. Look at that. Look at all the time I gained for free. As we see Llanos and Valeriano chasing us again, the two blue cars. We now move on to lap 21, and well, I was running into issues here. My softs were dropping off the pace, and as you can see, I lose DRS now compared to Colors. And yeah, Colors has closed in quite nicely to the top two and has dragged me along with him. But at this point I lose DRS, my tires are too far gone, and his, being a lap fresher, are still okay. And you can definitely see the difference here. So then we get to the end of lap 21, and I decide to stay out, but look at this. There's no grip front right. And that wasn't great. Had that happened one corner sooner, I would have known they hit the cliff and I would have pitted, but that was too late to make a pit stop, and I had to do an entire lap on all tires, which wasn't ideal, as we now see Suk stay out, and then behind him Van Vooken, Colors and me all pit at the same time, because, well, our tires are just dropping off, and we decide that it's not worth it. As I honk my horn at Van Vooken and head into my pit box. And Van Vooken repays the favor. I like preseason. Not too serious. So, yeah, we all head on to fresh tires. As we see Brandholm, the yellow car, who has still stayed out. He's in front, and then we've got Llanos behind me. I don't want to repeat of what happened with Valeriano, where I exit the pits, I get past, and then I'm an entire lap stuck behind, even though I'm on fresh tires, and I need to make them work. I need to take the advantage. So I use overtake, and I push hard, just to stay in front, as then Colors in front tries to overtake Brandholm. Okay, so I stay in front of Llanos, so that's good. I didn't repeat what I did after the first pit stop. And more good news, we can see Colors didn't make it past Brandholm, so I can now catch up to Colors. Because Brandholm, on all tires, he will be slower. So that's good news in terms of the fight with Colors, but not good news in terms of the fight with Suk and Van Vooken. Because Van Vooken is ahead, and he's got a bit of clean air, although Williams is there. As we move on to the end of the lap. And oof, that's Llanos making a big mistake. Yeah, let's take a look at that. So it's on board with me, heading into the bus stop chicane. I sort of see him coming, and then boom, that's it. He hit me. I'm like, what happened there? So yeah, another angle here. He just outbrakes himself, locks it up, and hits me. That's, oof. Yeah, that's not great. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. As we look at top side angle. So it's Colors in front of me. Just misses Colors, and then does hit me. Which, I mean, on the one hand, it's not great. On the other hand, it could have been way worse. That could have been race over for either me or Colors or Llanos, and all three of us are able to continue. So I guess that's good. We're now on lap 25. Colors has gotten past Brandholm, so I need to make the move as well. And right behind me, there's my old buddy Valeriano, who's trying to do the same. And yeah, the overtake on Brandholm is easy, but I also need to defend against Valeriano and need to keep this position as... Alright, yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay, so I now move up to P5. But I've got Valeriano right on me. And I've got a bit of a gap towards Colors, who has gotten past Williams. So again, there's a bit of buffer between us, which isn't ideal. And then at the end of the lap, I'm right behind Williams. And on the one hand, maybe I could have gone for a move here. But I'm trying to think ahead, because if I make the move here, Williams will have the DRS on the camel straight and re-overtakes me. So it's better to slow down, stay behind, and then just get a good exit here. Because I'll get a massive slipstream here, get DRS, and it'll be an easy overtake, instead of having to re-defend against Williams and maybe losing the position or losing time defending. So yeah, I gave up a little bit of time to prevent myself losing a lot more. So yeah, I moved past Williams easily. Valeriano follows me. So he's still right there. And in the meantime, yeah, Carlos has gained a bit of a gap. And towards Sux and Van Vukas, I'm also losing time. So it's... yeah, the second stint isn't going the way I wanted it to. It's quite suboptimal. But then again, looking at the incidents, it could have been way worse, because the race could have been over. So we're still in it to win it, but we need to make it work. We need to make it work. So now we get a cool overview on lap 26, and we see Sux has taken the lead. Van Vukas behind him. And then, yeah, you see a nice overview of the top 8. And you can see how close it is. Yeah, really cool battle for the top 8 basically. Really close together as we move on to lap 33. And it's, well, it's basically time to make another pit stop. So we've got the Sux, who is on softs, Van Vukas on the mediums, and then me and Carlos on the softs again. As, well, me and Carlos head into the pits. And yeah, we're basically gonna copy each other's strategy again. So either we both get it right, or we both lose out on the wrong strategy. Not quite sure. The tires, at least, they lasted decently well. So I think for this final stint, the softs should be okay again. And I can try and push. As now we've got Williams right behind me. And just like last time pit exit, I've got a blue car right behind me, and I don't want him to overtake. I don't want to lose time. I need to use these fresh tires. Carlos already has a bit of a gap, and yeah, if I want this podium, I need to defend. And as you can see, I'm able. Oh, as we almost get another bonk. So Williams loses it on the rear, but just manages to avoid me. So that's well done by him, and we can continue on. As we now move on to lap 35. And yeah, I'm chasing Valeriano. But I'm really not fighting him. I'm focusing on the people ahead. I'm focusing on the podium. But I need to get Valeriano first. Which, with the tire advantage I have, is not too difficult. But yeah, I'm in P4, which is not the podium. So I've got Van Vukas in front of me, then it's Carlos, and Sux is now in the lead. And we now move on to lap 39. We now basically get to a phase of the race where it's basically a chase. So I'm going to give you an overview. So we've got the top 3, and we've got me desperately chasing, because I want the podium. And then you can see basically the rest of the top 8. As we'll see, Brandholm in P8 in the back there, heading into the bus stop chicane now. And we move on to the next lap, lap 40. And we get another overview. And you can sort of see the gaps close in or increase as these couple of laps progress. And yeah, for me, basically this was chasing time. So this is lap 41. And yeah, the top 3 is really closing in on each other. And I'm closing in on that top 3 as well. So, we're a bit faster. We are in this fight for the podium, but we need to close in a little bit as we head on to lap 42 now. And I'm a bit too far away. I don't have DRS. But, yeah, look how close. I mean, that's the victory right there, or at least the podium. And I need to close in a little bit, but I need to make the tires last as well. And honestly, with this new update, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's really on edge. And oh, that's good for me. Van Vukas and Callas are starting to fight, so they're gonna cost each other time. And I saw the delta go from 1.6 to 1.3 in just that corner and that move, so that's good. As Van Vukas has an incident. What happened there? Alright, we're gonna check with Van Vukas here. So he tries to overtake Callas here. On the inside. Oh, bit of argy-bargy, but they make it through cleanly. And then we move into this next corner. So Van Vukas has now gotten P2. Wants to chase the other, and he just loses the rear. Alright, we're gonna check on board. Look at his gears. Goes down to third, neutral, and then reverse. And I don't know if that was an issue with his steering wheel or he pressed both pedals at the same time and just hit neutral, but well, that's his podium over. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good for me. I'm now in P3. And I am now close enough to Callas to start getting DRS, which is good, but he also gets DRS to Zooks. So it's essentially a DRS train, and we both gain the same amount of time, and I'm not able to close in. Well, not on the straight anyway. So then in the corners, have I kept my tires in a bit better shape? Well, we'll have to see. It's chasing time once again. So if you haven't seen the previous race, it's really reminiscent of that one. No spoilers, but yeah, go watch that race if you haven't. And in the meantime, yeah, we're gonna focus on this one. Because again, it's chasing time. We've got 1.5 laps left, and I need to make this work. So I need to close in. Zook seems to be slowing down quite a bit, and I feel like I'm a bit faster than Callas, which was surprising because during the second stint, third stint, and the first one as well actually, he was a little bit faster than me. And then at this point, I was able to close in on him. So not really sure what changed, but yeah. I need to get a little bit closer. I need to get a bit closer, and I want him to lose DRS. If he doesn't have DRS, then I can start to make a move, but I don't know. There's nothing I can do about what they're doing, so I just need to go as fast as possible. So we head into the bus stop chicane, and after this there's one more lap to go. Oh, so get nice and close, but I feel like I have a bit more tire left compared to the previous stints, but will it be enough? I mean, we've got this one camel straight, right? So exit was maybe not quite good enough, and he's still too close to Zook, so he's gonna get DRS as well. And I've got a bit of overtake left, so I'm gonna use it here and try and get as close as possible, but it's not looking too good. But I mean, we saw what happened to Van Vukas, right? So maybe something will happen. Anything can happen. So I need to be there. Ooh, there's a bit of lock up. So Callas is pushing as well. And look at how close we are. Alright, this is what I like. Okay, so if we can keep this up, then maybe we can go for a move in the final corner. What do you think? You need to be in it to win it, so I lose a bit of time here, which isn't great, but yeah, look at that. He's starting to miss the apex, so either he's pushing too hard or his tires are going off a bit. Alright, so we've got this straight coming up now, and I need to slipstream, and it's quite a big distance. I mean, yeah, we've got the bus stop chicane coming up, so that's final chance to make a move. Look at how close even P1 is. I mean, he goes through cleanly, no mistakes. Alright. I mean, yeah, Zooks celebrates on a well-deserved victory, and then Callas P2, and I get P3. And I mean, I guess I'm happy, but to be so close to victory and then not get it can be kind of frustrating. But I don't know if you can hear it, but there's some celebratory honking going on. And yeah, that's the end of the race. So we take a look at the final results, and yeah, look at how close we were to P1. I mean, it's all ifs and buts at this point, and yeah, I like to stay positive. We were competitive here. Sure, the entire field wasn't here, but we've got some really fast drivers up at the front, and we were able to take the fight. Could have gone either way. Yeah, and we end up with an unofficial podium. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm feeling competitive, and I'm starting to look more and more forward to this season. So yeah, let's end with that. And I want to thank you guys for watching, and be sure to subscribe, leave some feedback. I want to know what I can do better and what things you guys liked. And be sure to become part of the pit crew. Join me for this adventure, and yeah, let's have some fun this season. It's gonna be a good one.